Welcome. Our quiz today is about Quran general knowledge. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more quizzes like this. Are you ready? Let's go. How many chapters, surahs, does the Quran contain? One 14. The Quran is composed of 114 surahs, each varying in length, theme, and guidance. What is the language of the Quran? Arabic. The Quran was revealed in classical Arabic, which remains the liturgical language of Islam. Who is considered the first recipient of the Quranic revelations? Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The Quran was first revealed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, by angel Jibril, peace be upon him. Which surah of the Quran is known as the heart of the Quran? Surah Yasin. Surah Yasin is often called the heart of the Quran due to its profound spiritual significance. How many verses, ayahs, are there in the Quran? Six to 36. The Quran contains 6 to 36 verses, which cover a wide array of topics ranging from divine principles to human morality. Which angel revealed the Quran to the messenger of God, peace be upon him? Jibril, peace be upon him. Angel Jibril, peace be upon him, was responsible for conveying Allah's revelations to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. What is the longest surah in the Quran? Surah Al-Baqarah. Surah Al-Baqarah is the longest chapter in the Quran, consisting of 286 verses. Which surah of the Quran is devoted entirely to the topic of women? Surah An-Nisa. Surah An-Nisa deals extensively with the rights and responsibilities of women, outlining various laws and guidance. In which city was the Quran first revealed to the messenger of God, peace be upon him? Mecca. The initial revelations of the Quran began in Mecca, specifically in the cave of Hira. What is the theme of Surah Al-Ikhlas? Monotheism. Surah Al-Ikhlas focuses purely on the oneness and uniqueness of Allah, making it a key surah for understanding Islamic monotheism. How often is the phrase Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim repeated in the Quran? "113 times. The phrase Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is repeated 113 times in the Quran, at the beginning of each surah except Surah At-Tawbah. Which surah is known as the verse of the throne, Ayat al-Kursi? Surah Al-Baqarah. Ayat al-Kursi, known for its profound significance, is the 255th verse of Surah Al-Baqarah. Who was the first person to compile the Quran into a single book? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Allah be pleased with him. The compilation of the Quran into a single book form was initiated under the leadership of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Allah be pleased with him, with Zayd ibn Thabit taking a leading role in the task. What type of verses in the Quran are known for their clear and direct meanings? Muhammad. Muhammad are the verses with clear and direct meanings, providing straightforward guidance without ambiguity. Which surah contains the regulations on fasting? Surah Al-Baqarah. Surah Al-Baqarah contains key verses that outline the rules and spiritual significance of fasting, especially during the month of Ramadan. Which surah opens with the letters Alif Lam Mim? Both A and B. Both Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-Imran start with the mysterious letters Alif Lam Mim. How many years did it take for the complete revelations of the Quran? "23 years. The revelations of the Quran to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, spanned approximately 23 years. Which surah is recited every Friday at Jummah prayers? Surah Al-Jumu'ah. Surah Al-Jumu'ah is traditionally recited during the Friday prayer service, which emphasizes its importance for the day. What are the verses that require prostration upon recitation called? Ayat al-Sajdah. Ayat al-Sajdah refers to the verses in the Quran that require a Muslim to perform a prostration upon their recitation. Who is the Islamic scholar known for his exegesis tafsir of the Quran? Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir is renowned for his detailed exegesis of the Quran, which is widely respected and referenced in Islamic studies. Which surah ends with the mention of two of Allah's names? Surah Al-Hashr. Surah Al-Hashr concludes with a beautiful enumeration of Allah's names, highlighting His attributes. How is the Quran organized? By length of surahs. The Quran is organized mostly by the length of surahs, generally from longest to shortest. What do Muslims believe about the originality of the Quran text? It is completely preserved. Muslims believe the Quran has been divinely preserved in its original form since the time of its revelation. Which surah starts with the oath of the fig and olive? Surah At-Tin. Surah At-Tin begins with an oath by the fig and the olive, emphasizing the importance of the places these fruits represent. Who was the Prophet Muhammad's, peace be upon him, scribe who wrote down the revelations? Zayd ibn Thabit, Allah be pleased with him. Zayd ibn Thabit was one of the primary scribes responsible for writing down the revelations received by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Which surah discusses the Battle of Badr? Surah Al-Anfal. Surah Al-Anfal provides detailed insights into the events and moral lessons of the Battle of Badr. What does the Quran say about the creation of humankind? Created from clay. The Quran states that humankind was created from clay, symbolizing the earthly origins. Which surah is recommended to recite during the prayer of need, Salat al-Hajjah? Surah Yasin. Surah Yasin is recommended for recitation during the prayer of need due to its blessings and the hope that needs will be fulfilled. Which surah discusses the story of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him? Surah Yusuf. Surah Yusuf beautifully narrates the life, trials, and ultimate triumph of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. What is the shortest surah in the Quran? Surah Al-Kawthar. Surah Al-Kawthar is the shortest surah in the Quran, consisting of only 3 verses. Which surah addresses the ethical treatment of orphans? Surah An-Nisa. Surah An-Nisa extensively covers the rights and ethical treatment of orphans among other social matters. What is the term used for the science of interpreting the Quran? Tafsir. Tafsir is the science of interpreting the meanings and messages of the Quran. Which surah was revealed in response to questioning from the Jews of Medina? Surah Al-Kahf. Surah Al-Kahf was revealed in part to answer questions posed by the Jews of Medina as a test for the Prophet, peace be upon him. What guidance does the Quran offer on marital relationships? Mutual respect and rights. The Quran emphasizes mutual respect, kindness, and equitable rights within marital relationships. Which surah is known as the clear surah or the opening? Surah Al-Fatiha. Surah Al-Fatiha, known as the opening, is considered the essence of the Quran and is recited in every unit of the Muslim prayer. How many times is the name of Allah mentioned in the Quran? About 2,500 times. The name of Allah is mentioned approximately 2,500 times throughout the Quran, emphasizing His omnipresence and sovereignty. What does the Quran say about the consumption of alcohol and gambling? Strongly prohibited. The Quran strongly prohibits the consumption of alcohol and gambling, citing them as works of Satan intended to sow discord and hatred among people. Which surah contains the rules for divorce? Surah Al-Talaq. Surah Al-Talaq specifically deals with the rules and regulations regarding divorce in Islam. Which surah contains the verse commanding Muslims to wear the hijab? Surah An-Nur. Surah An-Nur contains the verse that commands Muslim women to wear the hijab as a means of modesty. Which prophet is mentioned the most times in the Quran? Prophet Musa, peace be upon him. Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, is mentioned more frequently in the Quran than any other prophet, reflecting his significant role in Islamic theology. How does the Quran describe the process of revelation? As a gradual transmission. So, the Quran describes its revelation as a gradual process delivered to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, by angel Jibril, peace be upon him. Which surah details the night journey and ascension of the messenger of God, peace be upon him? Surah al-Isra. Surah al-Isra describes the Isra and Miraj, the night journey and ascension of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to the heavens. What are the two major divisions of the Quran called? Makki and Madani. The Quran is divided into Makki and Madani revelations based on whether the verses were revealed before or after the Prophet's migration to Medina. Which surah begins with the glorification of Allah and ends with a prayer for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? Surah Al-Fath. Surah Al-Fath starts with glorification of Allah and concludes with prayers for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his followers. What is the term for a verse that abrogates a previous ruling? Naskh. Naskh is the term used for an abrogating verse that replaces an earlier ruling with a new directive. What is the significance of the cave surah in the Quran? It recounts a story of youthful believers. Surah Al-Kahf, the cave, is significant for recounting the story of young believers who sought refuge in a cave to escape persecution. What does the Quran state about the equality of all races and ethnicities? Advocates equality. The Quran states that all humans are created equal and the most honored in the sight of Allah is the most righteous. Which surah reinforces the moral and social reforms in the Islamic society? Surah Al-Hujurat. Surah Al-Hujurat is known for reinforcing moral and social etiquette, including how to address the Prophet and interact within the community. What is the term used for the peaceful verses revealed in Mecca? Makki. Makki verses revealed in Mecca are often characterized by their peaceful and spiritual messages, focusing on the fundamentals of faith and morality. How does the Quran describe the creation of the universe? In 6 days. The Quran describes the creation of the universe as being accomplished in 6 days, without any fatigue touching Allah.